friends, welcome to Proactive is the Way. Today, we get to dive into Don Miguel Ruiz's book, The Four Agreements. As a part of our season Ascension, the Glow Up, I
Mhm.
selected this book because I was really searching for some guidance on how to continue on my pursuit for creating a transformative experience that will continue to positively develop how I live out my life. More specifically, eliminating self limiting beliefs and reclaiming how I live out my life with peace, joy, and an abundance of love. Hey, Tiff, how are you?
I'm good. How are you, Toya?
Yeah, girl,
How's
I'm
your
doing
week?
very, very well. Say that again.
I said, how was your week?
Yeah, it was Thanksgiving week, so the girl here ate really good.
Really good. What did y'all have on the menu?
On the menu, we did the basics. Actually, it was not turkey. My went out at the 11th hour to get the turkey because she's supposed to be responsible for the turkey because I don't do turkey. I do like Cornish hens. I do small, this.
I said I was gonna do Cornish hens, but they're frozen. But anyway, okay.
Oh, no, I do. I like to do the small meats. I don't like to because we don't eat a whole lot of meat. She
Right.
liked to have the turkey and ham and all of that. So that's her job. But
Right.
she ended up coming back with a she said it was turkey. It was a capone turkey or something like that. And I was like, what is that? I didn't even bother to research it. She was cooking it. I didn't care. I was like, okay, make your turkey. And so we had that, which turned out to be actually just a really big chicken. It was not a turkey. And then we had that's what happens when you go out at the 11th hour and butterball is no more,
Sold
right?
out.
I was
But
sold
that's
out,
what
right?
happened. That's what happened to me because I
Oh,
went
did
out
it ever to
for
you?
an hour too. And ended up with a girl. That chicken was fired on
Was
S10.
it? Oh, so you ended up cooking chicken too. You didn't do turkey.
I butterflied the chicken, laid it flat,
Oh,
stuffed it with dressing.
okay,
So the
okay.
first batch of dressing, I messed up. So I was like, well, I'm gonna just use this and stuff the chicken with it. And then I
Girl.
made a
How
new
you mess up dressing though?
because I put it in a cast iron skillet. I was trying to do a southern, but what I did was I combined all the ingredients. I didn't make the bread first. I was trying to do what I had did like two or
Oh,
three.
girl, you
So,
gotta
no,
make
it
the bread.
works.
It
It
works.
works. It works, but I had too much chicken,
Water.
too much water.
Oh, okay, okay.
But no,
Yeah.
yeah, so yeah, I butterflied a chicken and did all that. It was so good, Toya.
Oh, that
So
sounds.
you know the trick to making things flavorful and seasoned.
But can I ask you a question first? How you stuff the chicken if you butterflied it?
Tuck the arms and tuck the legs back under it.
Oh, okay,
But if
got it.
the cavity, the
Yes, yes, yes. I get it. I didn't know you tucked it. But I was like, did you have an open? Like I thought you did an open
oh no,
face.
I laid it back. I laid it on
You laid it
the
back.
butterfly.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay. So seasoning. Give us the
Yes.
secret.
So, and a 14-year-old taught me this. Alicia's
Oh,
daughter. Uh um Toots. I'm sorry, Khalees, dang.
please. Okay.
My little friend. Um,
Uh-huh.
girl, base everything with mustard. And then apply your seasonings on top of it. So
Okay.
I greased it real good with some
Okay.
olive oil.
Okay. What you do? French's or like stone ground mustard?
I did Trader Joe's.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
okay. Is that like regular mustard or?
Just regular mustard.
Oh, okay. I
Fair
only eat
trade
stone
organic
ground.
mustard. Fair
Okay.
trade organic.
Me too. I do
Less
organic, but
than
I do
less
stone ground.
impurities.
Okay.
Don't so and then so I did the olive oil, got to massage them with a little olive oil, gave them a good
Okay.
massage.
Okay.
Then I came in with the mustard.
Okay.
And I massage that in real good. Then I
Uh-huh.
took every seasoning in my cabinet and put it on there.
No, you didn't. You're so extra.
I had some slap your mama. I had some pink salt Himalayan. I had herbs and seasoning for the grill.
Uh,
The rest of them were non-salt. The rest
okay.
were salt. I put onion powder. I didn't have no garlic powder because the kid don't follow directions.
Okay.
Um, what else?
You could have put
Um,
natural garlic. That's what
oh,
I
I
do.
put some. No, let me tell you what I did, girl. I got
Uh-huh.
fancy.
Okay.
I cut up some lemons and onions,
Okay.
threw them in there.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I
Okay.
did.
Well, I mean, yeah,
It
that's
was good
taking
though. It was
place,
a
of
Darren
course.
was like, "You seasoned this real good."
Oh, you seasoned the heck out of this. Now, did you have to leave it to sit overnight, or
It
you
was
did it
moist.
in
No, I did it the same day.
the
We got
same day? Okay.
on Thanksgiving because I had to go
Okay.
on Thanksgiving to get the meat.
Oh, true, true.
I
Okay.
won't tell you the story behind the getting the turkey wings because I was
Oh,
gonna do turkey wings.
okay.
Called the store,
Uh-huh.
okay? Did my
Uh-huh.
due diligence. Called
Okay.
the store, okay?
Right.
I said, he said, you don't need to place an order or anything. We've got plenty. I
Uh-huh.
get there like 4 hours later.
They all gone.
Who told you that we had turkey wings?
Oh,
Ma'am, ma'am, never mind.
right.
I didn't
Because
even
you
really
could have ordered them and had them on hold.
right.
Oh, wow. That's messed up. You should have
I
got
was
his. You
like,
better get their names next
the
time.
guy was apologizing. No, the guy was real nice. A Caucasian, but
Hmm.
the Caucasian male, the Caucasian female was just staring at me like I don't know what she was staring at. I'm like, what?
Uh-huh. Like she was mad.
Like you mad? I'm mad.
Right.
Y'all told me y'all had chicken wings and I mean turkey wings, and I came all the way over here. Like, what are we talking about?
Hmm.
But anyway, it still turned out excellent.
Really good.
My
Okay.
cornbread dressing turned out good, girl.
Yeah, that dressing was pretty good. And I don't like mom makes hers with Jiffy, because she wanted to cook everything, but she made it with Jif. And I was like, why you make it with Jif? It was
Cornmeal.
too sweet, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah, you
cornmeal.
gotta make it with cornmeal. It was too sweet, but it was okay. It tasted fine, but I was just like, that's too sweet. You shouldn't be making dressing with Jif. That's like faux pop. You don't do that. And then what else do the sweet potato yams? Those that turned out. We did that very basic, just
We did
maple
too.
syrup
Nutmeg,
and
cinnamon,
yes, cinnamon,
imitation
nutmeg.
vanilla extract.
Okay, I didn't do
Um,
that. Yeah, I didn't do that, but I did maple
Taryn ate the
syrup
whole
because I like
pan.
I like who did?
Taryn.
Did oh, Tara better
And a whole
stop.
pan. And a whole pan of macaroni and cheese.
Oh, what? But that's what kids eat. The macaroni and cheese was almost gone too.
Oh no, mine
Momo.
was everything was gone like the next day.
Oh wow, no, we still that dressing is still sitting there. It's too. I was like, this is too sweet. But everything is almost gone. We have still Cornish hen left and that capone, because we don't eat that much meat really.
Well,
And
she
then
thought y'all was having company because she told me Tracy and Shanessa and
I don't know why she said that. I was like, I think that's what she was trying to say. That's who I invited, but everybody was doing their own thing this year because they all like Alabama. She said just came back from vacationing, and I was just like, okay.
who did?
Tracy came back from vacationing, and
What school
uh,
does Christian go to?
Rio something up
It's
north.
in Ohio.
Yeah, it's in Ohio.
Oh, it's still in Ohio. Mm.
Yeah. So he stayed local, but yeah, it was really nice. Even if it was just us this time. But as I told you the
And that's
day
good
after,
because I preferred like stop inviting people over there.
oh, he's like just keep it simple. Well,
What's
and they were talking about that a lot on social media,
what?
how we and I don't know if it's Black community, but I don't know. I think it's all families. How we just go over over and above for these holidays, and we end up broke and
Yeah, and broken
stressed, broke
because you
and
didn't even
broken.
because you didn't
Yeah,
even get to spend the time with your family that you thought you were going to.
true, true. And even, yeah, even we've actually finished cooking everything like at 3, which is the earliest we have ever done that. I was like, we would finish early when ain't nobody coming. But it was, it was nice, that it was just very, very calm, cool, collective. It wasn't a whole lot of to do and entertaining, which is nice, sometimes, just to be able to relax with your immediate
Yeah,
family.
and not and be doing all that entertaining and stuff. And I don't know why mommy feels like she needs to carry that on. Like the spirit is just not there anymore. I mean, I know she
Hmm.
wants that, but I feel like you'd be more disappointed
When
after
they
the fact
don't.
when they don't show up. So quit inviting.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
Tammy is always reaching out to me, trying to get in touch with my and then not to show up, if she invited me, like even show up for 5 minutes. Like Tammy's
Right.
is calling me, like, where's your mom? I can't get in contact with your mom. So she
Oh,
took
that's
the
interesting.
work.
Oh, that's interesting. She's always
Yeah.
at home. Yeah, she's always at home. She don't work. She retired. Drop by. Feel free. We work, right? No, I mean we stay at home, so we don't go nowhere. And you
Darling,
said that the
this
other
is not
day, right?
hard, darling.
You was like, y'all don't go anywhere. I was like, you right about that. So this weekend we had an opportunity to hang out after Thanksgiving, with family, going bowling, and I thought that was awesome, because you
Oh,
got
he didn't
to.
invite your fraudulent sister, did he?
Oh, I
Oh,
don't
I need to stop the power of the words.
know.
I
Wait, okay, and that's a great segue for our conversation today. Oh, what in the world?
he should have a segment that says practicing not being a bitch.
Oh
That's the segment I need.
my gosh. But he does talk
He
about
does.
that. He
He
talks about,
does.
he don't say it in that
No,
way,
he calls it
but
gossip.
yeah, gossiping, or as we were talking earlier, creating spells, right? So creating spells with your word.
So I better
Um,
stop because he said it actually bounces back on the person who
exactly.
puts it
So,
out.
well, and it's funny you said that, because I thought to myself, I always say when I see people do me bad, or when I go through that experience, you really don't have to wish bad on anyone,
No, I don't
because
wish bad on
not
nobody.
wish, when I say wish bad, like even speak negatively about them,
Oh, okay, yeah, true.
because what eventually happens, and if you're lucky, and I think people who have a pure spirit get to really see this in action, when people do you poorly, you will get to witness the payback. And it's not payback from you, it's karmic energy from the universe. And that's why I was like, you don't have to wish no bad on anyone, because when folks do that and they behave poorly, and you have good intentions, you meant no ill will, but they respond ill will, or they initiate, don't just, if it was you and you felt like you were to apologize, get it out in the open and be sincere. I think a lot of people, they apologize without sincerity, and they think that their karmic energy is going to be cleansed, and it's not. They will be like Jezebel in the King in the Old Testament, where Jezebel thought she was getting over, and she got sideswiped. But I just think to myself, you have to be, um, just be mindful of the experience. And if you go through it, less, walk away, step back, pray for that person, say, I don't know what that person is going through, and move forward. And really actually pray that they find some healing within themselves, because the reality is that the universe is going to pay them back. It's not a matter of if. I say this all the time. Because I think folks are like, well, I'll never get to see it. Yeah, you probably won't ever get to see it, but best believe it's not a matter of if, but when.
Hmm.
And I'm going to let you know it will happen. And you
Hmm.
don't have to be there to see it. Just know that it will happen and be content with that. Be okay with that and just walk away and try to do better if it was you, try to move forward, but don't wish bad, don't even speak bad. Just let it be. Um so yeah, I say that all the time, but this is actually a great segue, because we've been talking a lot about how do we live a more joyful life, and how do we live more in peace. And you know I was excited that I ran into this book because I really didn't know what it was about, honestly. I just kind of picked it up. Every year at the end of the year, I go through and I actually create my entire program for Proactive is the Way for the following year. So like my program is like set by October. And then I just kind of pick books, but I have no idea what these books are. Like I go through, I read the description, I try and find out who else has spoken about the book, and I try to, uh, see if it correlates well to the topic. And so this was one of those books that came up, and I think this book actually appeared, I think, in Oprah's book club as well.
Uh-huh.
But I was really, really excited to read it and really better understand what is he talking about, and how is it that I, can ensure that I'm continuously living my life in a manner that is just uh, in a manner that is fulfilling, that fulfills me, and that continuously regenerates my spirit, my mind, my body, my spirit. I'm so happy that I was able to land on this book. And in the book, and this is Don. Did you ever hear about this book before?
I've heard of the four agreements. I don't think I've
Okay.
heard about it, like it being in a book. But you know what?
Hmm.
Uh, just just sidebar.
Okay.
Daddy has always said multiple times,
Hmm.
us growing up, I remember him saying these things. They just weren't articulated the way that Don Miguel Ruiz um, articulated them.
Yes.
So we've
Yes.
been hearing this all of our life, actually.
This is actually true, and even when it comes to the whole notion of, how do we get into the four agreements, through domestication, and how Daddy was always against how he was raised, right? Because he was raised in the South, and in the South, of course, it was heavily Christian oriented,
Bible Belt.
and he was just really against the belief system that he was forced, in some way, shape, or form to conform to. He never conformed, I don't think, though. I don't think that he ever bought into it.
Uh-uh.
Because he truly raised us very
The Old
different.
Testament was Aesop fables. The New
Yeah, like
Testament wasn't
he,
real.
right, like he truly raised us, I think, trying to keep things and ensuring that we kept things into perspective, that we put things into perspective, under the guise of reality
Under the
and
guise of critical thinking,
critical think and using
of
a
having
critical
your
thought
own
process.
having your own thought process. Yeah.
Correct.
I think
Critical thinking,
that was the
having your
guise. That was more of anything. That was
yes, and I think that's why but he also didn't take away either, and that was one of the things that I appreciated too, because he allowed us to experience both sides. I mean, he married a Christian woman who, to this day, she will never break away from it, which is which is her right. You know, you have to go through your own experience of enlightenment in your own way. And
I think you should read it for yourself,
you
but
should
other than
read
that,
it. Right. I
I
think
don't think
everybody,
necessarily that our mother's views were, I think she didn't read them for herself.
oh no, even to this day, because I even say, why don't you pick up the book
Read.
and read
I
it?
tell her that
And,
all the time, Mommy, have
and
you been reading?
yes,
You like
because
the
I
Bible, it's intriguing to you. Read it.
read it. Yeah, don't just live the life based on what you've heard, but I want you
Right.
to pick the book up and actually read it, and then tell me what you get out of it.
Right, because it
Right?
amazes me that people can take what someone else says for face value and not look at the experiences around them, or really like dive deep into their own experiences and how what that person is saying is applicable even to their experience. Not saying that they have to you know have an experience, but I just feel like they should evaluate.
But why and I think Don talks about this. Why don't they? Because
What?
they've been what? Why don't
Oh,
they?
because they've been indoctrinated or they've been
It's domestication is what he calls it.
domesticated. Yeah,
Right. He
yeah.
says that
Very
each
similar. We do our children the way we raise dogs and cats.
exactly the way that we raise dogs,
Domesticate.
cats, we do the same thing with our children, right? So
Right.
they go through a period where, they are taught how to conform to familial, to societal beliefs, systems. And we don't allow that opportunity for exploration to construct their own understanding through their own life experiences. We let them go through life with experiences, but no different than you and I. Growing up, we do go through that process of where we're forced to kind of conform or go a specific direction because they're doing what they only know, right? What they were learned, and thinking that that is the model or the method for our learning experience.
Right.
And so it's a continual, a perpetual display of this type of behavior that goes on for generations, right?
And you can
And
see it because we don't allow things to evolve in their natural way, right? So just
mhm,
like now, like had we um let things evolve and then adapt it to the evolvement of, like, for example, technology.
mhm,
Some people got it, some people didn't, right? But
mhm.
it's because we are so used to resisting evolvement. We're
Yeah,
resistant
the
to evolution.
evolution.
Yeah, we
Hmm.
always have to add some layer of complexity to it so that it becomes so confusing that people are just like with this technology is the worst. It is the
Hmm.
worst thing that has happened to humanity. But we're not going to talk about that. Let's stick to the four agreements.
No, but it's good to find an analogy that individuals can relate to. I think that I think when you bring up instances like that, whether it be technology or helping individuals, this to resonate with individuals, help them to understand the why behind why you believe that. Otherwise, it's just gossip, right? So otherwise, it's just us leaning on, and he talks about this as well. It's us leaning on our own life experiences and sharing those life experiences without really giving folks that clarity so that then they can go through and make an assessment as to whether or not, oh, is that something that makes sense and should I look into this a little bit further. um, but yeah, no, talk about all those experiences and help people to understand through how your interpretation and what your interpretation of this has been, right?
Mhm.
Because he talks about that. He says, when we're going through and we're trying to dismantle our own our own life experiences, our own domestication. That there's four agreements that really help us to begin to do that most effectively. One is, of course, making sure that we don't take things personally. Um, don't take things personally. Don't make assumptions. Right. What was the other one? Always
Be
do your
impeccable
best.
with your word.
Being impeccable with your word,
That was
right?
that was one I resonated with intensely.
Right. Yeah. And we'll talk about that. And the last one, of course, was always do
Do
your
your
best.
best. Hmm.
Yeah. But
But I think you could really honestly sum everything up to the number one, be impeccable with your.
well, true, because true
It
in
all kind of feeds it. That statement, be impeccable with your word, is kind of like um what Chaminade is to Cedarville University. It's a feeder school, right? Or am I
or
saying that backward?
or to get to being impeccable with your word, you have to be someone who doesn't take things personally,
Or
who doesn't make
doesn't make us
assumptions,
and who
and
are
who always tries to
purposeful.
do their best. So,
Purposeful though, but they have to be purposeful about deliberate. They have to be intentional, purposeful, deliberate about doing their best. Because some people can be doing their best. Because you used to tell me this all the time, girl, you sang that with no effort. And I would
mhm,
call it doing my best.
mhm.
But it really wasn't because it wasn't intentional. It wasn't purposeful either.
Okay, but true, your best, he talks about that too, which is very interesting. It's funny you're bringing that up because he brings that into play, because your best is not always classified as your best. So, for example, I'll give the example when we played basketball. On a good day, if you're not ill, you're playing, but you're giving your best, right? Because you want to win the game. But sometimes you're ill and you still have to play. And under the guise of illness, what's your best, right? You're still giving your best. And I think that that really helps individuals. When you look at it in that light, it helps individuals to understand what that really means. But instead of us kind of getting off on tangents talking about all of them kind of not in any specific order, I want to go back and just make sure that we're a little bit more organized and structured in our thought process here. um, and I want to talk about the first one, the agreement that he talked about as it relates to being impeccable with your word, because I do like that. I'll tell you, when he first started talking about being impeccable with your word, I was kind of confused. I was like, impeccable with your word to who? Right. And what I really liked is the fact that he talked about how your word or how you speak is, and it's not about just what you say to others, but also what you say to yourself.
Yourself.
And
Mainly
I
what you say to yourself. It,
mainly what
because
you
the way
Mhm.
the concept, the way he discussed it was, it mainly is it all actually has to do with self. And he started it off by explaining it from Genesis, right? The word
Mhm.
was God and
God, yep.
etc. I don't remember the scripture. That's terrible.
That's okay.
And he and see there's that self-talk again. So that's what he's talking about, where you have that
Mhm.
self-talk where you're telling yourself you're terrible or doing all
Right.
that talk. So but
Mhm.
yeah, he started it off with explaining how words basically are everything is about self.
Mhm. Well,
I,
words carry power, is
power,
what he
yeah. Uh-huh.
shared, right?
But yeah, we know that.
And words, because words carry power, we have to be very mindful with regards to how we leverage our words.
presenting
And
them
that's
to people
exactly,
or in
and
front of people or about people to
uh,
ourselves. Because
correct,
he
or
uses the
even
example of Hitler and how Hitler was able to destroy an entire
mhm,
country and destroy entire people um,
mhm,
by words,
by
which is
just
very
words.
similar to what
No,
we're going through right now. But
yeah, I mean, no evidence whatsoever,
none. He
and
didn't have to
you
have
will,
any.
and or even as we are growing up, going through our life, right? Don't you recall like how there would be certain things that you were really good at, and it would be like, oh, Tiffany can sing, not Toya so much, but Tiffany can sing. Well, I've never really tried singing,
How
and
did I get into
but
the
yeah, how did
equation?
I get right? But you go through those life experiences of, you're not pretty enough, or I went through that too when I was trying to put myself. I ended up actually doing it when I got into college, but when I wanted to go to charm school, not charm school, I think at that time it was modeling. Remember Barbizon? And I was like, I would really like to do Barbizon, etc. And I just remember hearing, but you don't have the look for that. And I was just like, oh, okay. I don't have the look for it, but it's something I want to do. And I ended up putting myself through charm school. It was called charm school when I went into college, which was really nice because it taught me how to be a girl. It taught me how to be feminine. And I was telling the kids the other day, I was like, I had to break free away from that ideology that I had to have a certain look to be a girl. I know that probably was not what they were trying to imply, but that's kind of how I took it, that I had to be like that I just didn't have this image to even think to go into that direction,
Mm-hmm.
which was fine. And I thought to myself, that was a part of my domestication to tell me that I could never conform um, to those ideas because, or I couldn't be a part of them or a participant because I didn't fit the look, right? And so I just thought to myself, gosh, he's so spot on because you do, and you go through life, you start to have those thoughts about yourself and you start to behave in a manner, which I ended up being very tomboyish, always wearing Levi jeans from the men's section, boy, boy,
We loved doing that
yeah,
because we were so tall.
yeah, but true. That was another thing because
That was the
find
issue.
we couldn't find. But no, I still also always dressed in male clothes.
I like
Um,
that.
oh yeah, no, I really like girl clothes. Remember, because I was 15 years old, I put myself through. Where do I go to? Joann's Fabrics when
Oh,
I
yeah.
started.
Mhm.
I started work because I
You did
wanted
some
to go.
classes
Yeah, I
there.
started.
Mhm.
I paid for it though. When I got my first job at Dairy Queen, I paid for it. I was like, I paid for it. Can you just please drop me off because I can't drive yet? But I put myself through those things, and that was a form of me really going through that process of breaking the ideas that were being instilled that, oh, that's not the direction you can go. That's not what you should do because you don't possess a certain quality that you should have, I guess, that society deems that's necessary, right? Which can be detrimental to a lot of budding artists, I think. Could you just imagine when you have somebody and he talked about that, how a girl, a mom had came home and her daughter was just singing and just
Dancing around.
really dancing
Very
around.
happy. She was very happy
Yeah,
singing and her
yeah. And at that time she wasn't trying to be of anything. She was just trying to be herself and uh find who she was. And after that experience of her mom coming home telling her, you're terrible at singing, stop singing, etc., the girl put it in her head until she was an adult that she was terrible at singing and never thought to do it. Just she lost her spirit, she lost her way. And so that's why words contain power. And we have to be very mindful of what we say to people, because because of the spells that we can put on others, that will lead them astray, lead them off of a path in which may have been the right
change
path.
their life trajectory. Yeah.
Correct,
And we've
correct.
and we've I I'm glad I'm learning it now because it's never too late to learn, right? Like
Never,
where
never,
you
Tiffany.
where you have come up, and you know what, from listening to this audiobook, I was thinking to myself I should pen a letter to my own daughter,
Mm-hmm,
because I feel like I didn't pour enough, like the way mommy and daddy poured into me. You
mm-hmm.
I almost think I was the only child.
You were. You were. No, you wasn't. 'Cause I poured into Alex too. I think they
They
really.
poured into all of us, but
Oh, yes. Okay,
they
let's
probably
be
poured
clear there.
they
Yes,
probably
that's
poured a little bit more in my cup.
correct. But you also demanded that too.
Oh
You
yeah,
demanded
yeah.
the
So I was super needy.
yes, yes. And I was not. I was like
You're the typical middle child.
yeah, right?
But
Unseen, living in obscurity.
no, living a life of minimalism, which we all could stand to do. I'm
Right.
learning that now. When you ain't got nothing, it's easier to live a minimal
Oh
life.
yes, that is so true. That is so
But
true.
anyway, so that's my reality right now. So anyway, but yeah, because and so I was thinking about penning a letter to my daughter, like, you know what, maybe I could have, but I feel like I did so much, being a single mom though, honestly,
Hmm.
that I did not get, like this would have been
Hmm.
helpful back then. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like, um,
right.
because I lacked the maturity. I lacked the really honestly just the understanding that you need to have for being a parent. Hmm.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
this opened up my eyes to just a lot of different things like that I could work on, and just using these four agreements, like
Hmm.
continuously changing the agreement with myself.
Correct. And that's funny you said that, continuously changing or improving
Improving, yeah.
within some of these agreements, because I cannot imagine that everyone just is born with this understanding, unless grew up in an environment where you were always receiving this type of wisdom. And even when you are receiving this type of wisdom, that you are acting on it, because of immaturity, right? When we're younger, or so it's thought, that we have a big ego when we're going through that learning process where, I shouldn't say we have a big ego. It can go either way. But
We're just
where
in
we're
different dimensions, I think.
yes,
He
yes.
mentions he touches on about the thought, and about dimensions, kind of like when you have a thought and you're like, oh, where did that come from? And not realizing that you can be thinking on like different dimensions. So what dimension was I in, or not to make it about me, but what dimension are you in when you're receptive versus when you're not receptive, when you're able to receive a message, or when you're
Hmm.
unable to receive a message? It may not even have to do with maturity.
Hmm.
It could
True.
actually, the psychology of it could actually be ego.
Hmm. Yes, yes. It could be all of that, right? We would have to do the assessment at the time, right? At the time of when you are going through that actual experience, with regards to how you come out and put an understanding around it. You'd have to go through and assess the situation at that time. That's why I kind of took a step back, because I was like, it's really going to matter, what you're going through at that time. That helps you to assess most effectively. But anyway, so as you're though growing up, and you're going through the process of domestication and learning the things that society deems that you need to know and how you need to behave. And then you start to transition into adulthood and, have new experiences, and start realizing that what you learned may not have been, you may not have had the full picture. And now you have to go back and reassess, those experiences that you've gone through under a new lens, because
Uh-huh.
now you have new information.
Uh-huh.
And I think that's a constant, because we never stop learning. And you said that earlier.
But I think
We
people stop learning.
they prevent themselves from the exploration because
Yeah,
they
they
fear, right?
because of fear. And he talks about fear and
Correct.
how fear-based thinking
Hmm.
causes devolvement. You don't evolve when you have fear-based thinking.
Correct, because
It is
you don't want to
also
be
the things
judged.
it's also the things that interrupt relationships.
Hmm.
Um,
See, let me go back to that, because I just said something. You don't want to be judged, right? And see, this is why I don't know if you've ever heard me. I was like, why do people say that? Don't judge me, no judgment. And I don't know why that bothers me, right? Because I
Planet Fitness
think
has it as their tagline.
I know. And every time,
I'm
I
like,
don't know
wait,
if
where
this
are
is
you
why
going with this?
I was like, I want to go to Planet Fitness, but I can't stand that tagline. That really bothers me when people say, "Don't judge me," and I think to myself, and for me, when I look at judging someone, a judge who has the credentials, who's gone to school, also has the ability to do what?
Judge.
Not only judge, they have the ability to, we have to look at it separately, because it's not only judge, and I think this is how people look at judging. Judge, to judge, they also have the ability to condemn, right? So at the end of their judgment, which is what they go through, they take a look at information, they critically assess what has been placed before them. They go back into their chambers, they review the details, they come back, they ask the jury, what was your thoughts with regards to this experience, right? What are they doing? They're analyzing information, right? And so for me, I hate that. I think that we need to have an understanding that judgment does not mean condemnation, right? Judgment means that we are really taking a critical look at what you are going through, and we're trying to assess the situation and come out of the other end with some sort of resolution, or help you come out of it with a resolution for yourself,
Mm-hmm.
with regards to how you want to, how you envision yourself moving forward. And so, when and he talks about that, that we should, that people are afraid, they fear moving out of domestication, because they don't want to be judged. They don't want to be seen as an outsider, and they don't want to be condemned. But from my perspective, I say, that's not my place, right? When I was going through my spiritual transformation, I felt condemned. I felt like I was outcasted. And I kept saying to myself, but this is my experience, not your experience. You can't judge the plight of my enlightenment because you're not going through the plight. You weren't chosen to go through it. I was, right? And this is my journey. And so that's why I was saying earlier, when people are going through their domestication, we're talking about mommy, I was like, I accept who she is, where she's at right now, because that's the path that she's on. But all of our paths are not the same. And we have to have a better understanding of that and allow people to go through, as long as it's not detrimental to you, as long as I'm not As long as I'm not imposing my will onto you.
I think, Toya, though, what happens with people, aside from everything that you just explained, um, I think what happens with people is that because we are domesticated, because we're taught to believe a certain way, to do things a certain way, and there's this underlying theme of sameness, of
Mm-hmm,
assimilation,
mm-hmm,
that when a new idea is presented, it's not received. There's a lot more resistance to receive a newer message, because of the embedded training. I think maybe in the book he mentioned it as a virus on a computer.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm, yeah.
Um,
Mm-hmm,
but I just think that that's why, like, I envy you that you were able to have like a spiritual awakening, because
mm-hmm,
I don't think I'm awake. I think I'm sleeping, and I think I'm still dreaming. Like,
mm-hmm,
you left the dream a long time ago. Like, so you're no longer like dreaming, but I'm still like,
mm-hmm.
I'm dreaming.
So you were saying, that you felt that you did not have a complete awakening, right?
I'm
And
not woke at all. I've not
uh,
had any spiritual awakening.
I think you've had, I think it's on its way. I think you have to have an understanding that it doesn't happen immediately. You will teeter back and forth because you will be fighting with yourself. I don't know if you've experienced that, but you'll be fighting with yourself like, what? No, that's not what I understood it to be. That's not what I read. And I go back and forth with the whole notion of when I started reading the Bible and I read it from the front to the back. And I was going one direction and then something within the Bible stuck out to me and I couldn't get an explanation for it. Not only could I not get an explanation for it, behaviors of individuals who I was attempting to get an explanation from changed. And so you're going to have this experience when you start going back and forth. And if you are someone who is truly wanting to go through a period of true understanding, number one, you have to know what you are trying to find. I think that's another bit about enlightenment or having an awakening. What are you trying to be awakened from? And what do you feel exists that you need to explore further? And I had a very, very specific goal.
Explicit.
There, it was explicit, like it was to the point where and the goal, what I said, I want to find God. I need to find God. I need to understand God, right? And it was like at that moment, I went through it and I mean, I can't even begin to explain. And that's why I was sharing with you that there are a lot of people who, especially here on within North America, and even in countries like South America, Central and South America, I feel like Central and South America know truth, but they teeter. They teeter back and forth. America, we literally are strong holding ourselves from from truly exploring,
There's
strong
someone
holding ourselves.
gatekeeping.
Yeah, a lot of gatekeepers, and I'm going to say a part of it is the UK and America, Canada, that whole those three countries aligned are really strong with gatekeepers. And that's fine. Because as I said earlier, a lot of people are living an illusion. And instead of moving forward, as I feel that a lot of countries like Africa, Asia, they're attempting to do. Now they, of course, have their own issues because, of course, of colonization, of just the wars that arose in those areas, religious wars, territorial wars. that, or being outcasted from the global economy if they don't conform, right? Made difficult to having embargoes placed against them and things of that nature to force them to conform. They struggle, and I feel like they want us to move forward, but there's a lot of individuals holding back and digging their heels in and saying no, and they need to move forward. But as I mentioned earlier, it has to happen on their own time. And I think a lot of individuals are going back to who's the Greek philosopher? Socrates? Is Socrates a Greek philosopher? A lot of those countries have now gotten to the point where they say, okay, you know what? We can no longer help you to understand.
Mm-hmm.
We can no longer help you to understand. So we're going to carve a new path. Because what happens when you try to help someone understand and go through their period of enlightenment, what happens? There's a lot of
Resistance.
resistance. And a lot of people, I mean, people will literally kill you because you're going against something they believe versus allowing you to say, versus just letting you go to the wayside, do your exploration. That domestication becomes a form of threat to their existence. And so now you see a lot of people leveraging Socrates' statement, where Socrates stated, never fight the old. Matter of fact, let the old carry forward. And for the new, carve a new path. And what will happen with anything, right? So let's take CDs, for example. Let's take any type of technology. You had went to technology, and I was like, no, continue with that one. But let's talk about technology, right? What did we have before? We had the 8 player. I'm gonna go to the 8 track, because 8 track, right? Is that what it's called? 8 track, where they used to put the cartridge
Tape.
into the cartridge into the car, and you would listen to music
Oh
on an
yeah,
eight
the
track.
tape player.
It wasn't a tape player. It was way before that. It was like a little cartridge, and you put it into the you probably don't remember. See, I'm going back. So I'm going even way back before they had the tape, right? So they
Okay.
had the eight, I think it's called an 8 track. It's something I can't remember. But then, right, they introduced the tape, right? After the tape, it was what? CDs,
CDs.
right? But each time we had a new
But CDs
technology.
never went away.
CDs are still around, right?
Uh-huh.
But still, they're fading out.
They still
They're
make cars
definitely
with the CD player.
true, but it's fading. It's fading. The more once the
Right,
cloud
because of
becomes
Bluetooth.
fully, well, the cloud, right? Now you can store everything in the cloud, right? But just think about it. So with every advancement of technology, what ended up happening was, and this is the same instance with any type of change that you want to bring about, you have to know that change is not going to happen overnight. It's going to take time. But even with technology, what I love is that they didn't try and fight and say, okay, we are just dropping the 8 track. No more 8 tracks. No more, right? No. What they did was, while we had the 8 tracks, they
Mm-hmm.
introduced the tape.
Mm-hmm.
And then what happened was like, oh, the tape is, oh, it's faster. You can rewind forward, all this different stuff. I don't know what you could do with the 8 track, but apparently it must have been better, because what ended up happening was the 8 track phased out. And I feel like I'm saying this wrong. What is it? Let me see.
There was an 8 track.
Was it 8 track? Is it 8 track or a track? I don't know. But anyway, so it phased, right? And then we had, after the tape, we started having the CDs and the different variety of CDs, right? Before you just had the CD, then we was all of a sudden able to write onto the CD and read and write on the CD, etc. Then you had the different phases of a CD. And then after the CD, when they started introducing the cloud, right?
Mhm.
Now, because we had the cell phones and we had, because of the internet and things of that nature, and what eventually happened is they kept the CDs. You still can purchase CDs online, right? But what's going to eventually happen, and this is with evolution, any evolution, is that it's going to eventually fade out because folks are going to see the improvement. They're going to see why the next generation of tech musical devices, I don't know how I want to say that, but resources to media, uh, the next wave or the next generation was better than before. And so going back to Socrates' statement, you know, we no longer should fight. We no longer, we can share our experiences, but don't try and bring nobody on board. Because as I mentioned earlier, number one, my enlightenment, the journey that I'm going on, is not the same for you. And it may not be the same for you because what you're looking for might be different from what I desire to look for,
Mhm.
right? And at what's that statement? God gives you what you have the capabilities to handle, right? They say that. They say that. My understanding is of that you have to be open and receptive to what is there. And if you're not, you will be blinded until you are. You won't be able to see until the time comes. And so, and it's okay. And it's okay, Tiffany. We all have to go through our own little, we all have to go through it in our own way. And it's okay, completely okay. Just all I have, all I want to say, don't hurt other people because their path is different than yours. You don't have to hurt nobody. You don't have to hurt anybody.
No.
Don't be
And
scared.
I'm not, you know what, when I
Mhm,
say like crass things,
mhm.
I'm not one that wants to even hurt anyone, right? Like with
Correct.
things I say. And I'm actually very cognizant and actually very, trying to be very aware, a little bit more aware, because I also think that because we lack awareness, we walk around not aware.
You were saying, you don't ever seek harm for anyone if they
Right.
go against, your beliefs. But there a lot of people do
They
because they
do.
don't like
Well,
to.
like what's going on right now
Yeah,
in our country, in our world.
yeah. I mean, there's
People
this
get killed for
fear.
their ideas if it
Correct.
doesn't go along with their view or their belief. Charlie Kirk,
Correct.
but I mean, he was also spewing hate. After my review of things,
Mm-hmm.
you
Yeah.
kind of walked yourself into that one. Kind of
Yeah.
committed
Well.
suicide, if you're asking me.
Mm-hmm.
Spewing hate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, that should never be the goal. But
But
I
yeah. But
I
it
don't care
does
if
it.
you don't agree with me.
Yeah, but it does happen, and then that's why people they fear to do that exploration.
Right. That
And
drives.
that, yeah, it really does. And that when you have those experiences, you will find that does hinder progress. It hinders a country, a whole population of people from being able to be progressive and really move forward.
Mhm.
And as he was going on in this book, one of the things that I really like, so he talks about, making sure that we don't take things personally. You know,
Mhm.
um, if we start to begin to take things personally, etc., that poison kind of goes through you, and we have to be mindful that people's perceptions and their beliefs and what they go through is not a reflection of you. It's a reflection of the agreements that they've had within their
They're
lives,
still.
right? So they're going through all of their various uh, belief systems that were instilled within them and walking through that. And so sometimes we have to be mindful of that. But the other one that I really liked was that don't make assumptions, the third one, because, he talks about um, that folks will assume with never asking a question.
Mm-hmm.
They will have a tendency to make an assumption about everything.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, why is Toya going through this? Why did she start here and then all of a sudden do a 360? I don't know what I did. I did a whole 360 live. Oh my gosh, I got this wrong. This is so wrong. Um, you know, but no one ever asks the question.
And people,
And
and he was really relating it to like people who like you're closest to, that's mainly where it goes in, like in relationships,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
like the
You won't
wife
ask for
assumes the husband.
clarification.
Right. The
Mm-hmm,
wife assumes the husband knew to take the meat out the fridge when he got home because he was the first one to arrive home, but he had no instruction. He had no idea
right,
that you wanted the meat out of the refrigerator. Hell, you put it in there.
right.
So how was I going to know to take it out if you didn't, tell me or give me a directive or whatever? And maybe that's oversimplifying it,
Mm-hmm.
but
Well,
yeah,
and
not making assumptions, and although it's cliche, that is true. Assuming things makes an ass out of you and me, right?
well, hello, right. It's already in the word, right?
But also making assumptions about people, all it does internally is frustrate you when you're
Right.
making
Well,
make
you create your own hell, is how as he called
yeah.
it,
Mm-hmm.
right? You literally are creating your own hell when
Mm-hmm.
you make an assumption and you're not asking for clarification. And he said that many wars, what you see the world going through is because a lot of people are making assumptions and not asking for
Right.
clarification.
Nobody has seen Hamas.
No.
Who the fuck is Hamas? No one can figure it out. Where did these people come from? They just surprised we're here and we started a war with no weapons.
Tiffany, Tiffany,
Toya, make that
no,
shit make sense. Make
no,
that part make sense. They killing babies and shit. Like
right.
y'all really like, but we ain't never seen Hamas. What do Hamas look like? You can see what Trump looks like. You can see what Netanyahu looks like. You can see what Putin looks like, but you can't see what the fuck Hamas look like. Who the fuck are they? Who the fuck are they? But I will tell you this:
Mhm.
I didn't figure out who they is.
Oh,
They, when we always talking in code and we like they,
right.
right? Boy, yeah, fucking they is the Jews, them is the whites.
Mm-hmm.
Period. I cracked the code. I don't want to hear nobody else's explanation about it because I already know what the fuck it is. And even though I'm working right now for a very large Jewish organization, surprised the fuck out of myself. Did not know that Skid
Mm-hmm.
Row is run by the fucking Jews. Can you imagine that?
Hmm.
They are perpetuating the fucking drugs in minority communities to
Wow.
circulate money. Toya, oh my God, I'm learning so much. I don't want to learn that, but I don't even care about that shit, right? Because at
Mm-hmm.
the end of the day, they didn't actually put the meth pipe up to your lips. You did that part, but they keep it there. Ain't nobody making these people. Toya, I watch people. Toya, I stepped on a needle the other day in Skid Row when I was
Mm-hmm.
walking with Christopher.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't nobody making them people. They get down and out. What did he say? Ruiz talks about this too, about like depression and escaping reality, like when people go schizophrenic or
Mm-hmm.
have like a psychological event, is because they would rather, God, what did he say, Toya? Oh man, I can't think of what he said. But anyway,
They would rather live in that illusion versus try and find a way. I don't know. I can't recall exactly what he said, but
He said something to that effect, though, about the
Yeah.
psychology of mental illness.
But it most people, and you already hear about it when they do substance abuse or alcoholism. It's
Mhm.
all a ploy to forget or to get through it, or get around it, not even go through it. They're literally trying to get themselves around
You know what's
whatever
so
their
fucking
situation.
crazy though? Like there's so much of a veil over your eyes that you ain't seen people missing teeth. Like that don't bother you. You see that meth eats their teeth out of their fucking mouth, and you're still gonna try it?
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
you that down and out, you're gonna try that shit?
Well, you just said it. The veil,
Yeah,
the
the veil is
veil
over, and
is
what
placed
causes
over
such
your.
a I mean, it's an impenetrable veil though, Toya.
Yeah, oh,
Toya,
absolutely. That's why I don't understand how people do any type of substance abuse, really. Because even I remember when I was in college and I smoked weed for my first time. And that night I had to drive home. And when I was driving, I swore people were jumping out in front of my vehicle. That was the last time
well,
I
you had
touched
that, you
substance.
had that reaction.
No,
That
no.
might
It was the
have,
last time. It
and
was
that
the
probably
last.
was. I mean, because everybody don't have the same reaction to
No,
it.
they don't. But I
It's
was
just
so
like
happy I
addiction
had that.
though. It's just like addiction though. A lot of people, some people don't get addicted. Like me, I could
Right.
smoke marijuana all day.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna
Yeah.
slow me down. That's it. It ain't gonna, it's gonna slow me like all the way down, somewhere probably where I need to be because I stay all the way up here
Oh,
all the time. So I
and you're like, I
prefer to
need
be
that. Right.
some days I prefer to be all the way down. Like down, stop all of that thinking. Yeah.
Right. And I and
But
I, I get that, but I was just like, the guy came and he was like, "Will you sign a petition for us to have recreational weed in Ohio?"
no, some
I looked at
places
him,
don't
I
need
was
it.
like, "Hell no." I said, because
Right. Do
we
you
got a
know where
liquor
you
store,
are? These are the
a
last
liquor
people
store.
that need it.
Huh?
These are the last people that need
Yeah.
marijuana.
I
You up
said
here trying to
no.
promote something in this community? You
No.
here. You
Not
actually
with
need
it.
it here. Where
Yeah.
dialysis and hypertension and diabetes is off the map. It's a
Right.
third world country in Dayton.
Yeah. That's what I said. I was like, why don't we want that here? I said, you don't want that here. I said, we got too many issues. And then
Third world
on
shit. Get y'all
on
act together. Prioritize food,
yeah,
nutrition. Why don't y'all prioritize eating your fucking greens?
uh, okay. I
Like
mean,
y'all up here trying to prioritize smoking green,
okay.
prioritize eating your greens. Cause y'all sick.
Oh my
Dayton is
God.
sick. Dayton is sick, Toya.
Oh, I know.
Dayton
I
is
know.
sick. I'm
It's
talking physically. Dayton is sick.
hmm well, yeah, there's something definitely going on that I don't go out enough to really have to assess it most effectively, but which may be why I stay in most times. But I think we have to be mindful of that because drugs, like you were saying, with regards to people who are on Skid Row, how do they not know?
Yeah, how do
It
they not?
really
You
does.
ain't never ran into nobody
It
your entire life that's been on drugs and that didn't damn
it
like
changed. Yeah, it changes your understanding, your cognitive abilities. And I think to myself, I would never promote, I would never promote any type of substance. And I know folks drink. I don't condemn you for it. That's you're a grown person. You can do what you want to your body, etc. But the reason why I moved away from it is because I personally experienced what it could do to me personally,
right.
which is why I feel I am qualified to say I don't think that is the best for me,
Toya,
right? But
I drink and smoke and I don't think it's the best.
yeah, but yes,
Just
right? So
spiritually, you have to be somewhere spiritually to even be able to engage those things that negatively impact the spirit. So if you already on I like to relate things to basketball. When you go play away, you're already down 10 points, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If your spirit is already down 10 points,
Mm-hmm.
don't go into that expecting you're gonna win. You're gonna lose every time.
Mm-hmm.
Every
Mm-hmm.
time. You're gonna be 0 to 10 every time.
Yes.
You
And it,
never making it to a championship. And what I mean by that is, so then that's why they chasing the drug, trying to achieve the same thing they got the first time they tried it. But
mm-hmm.
it's an illusion. That's an illusion.
Right.
You'll never
You'll
experience that
never
again.
experience that first time
Only way you
again.
experience that again is
You go
going to
off of it.
recover
Mm-hmm.
and
And come back.
then come back.
Right. Right.
But anyway, I
Absolutely.
know we digressed because that wasn't what we were talking about. I was just trying to tell you about they and them.
Yeah. No, but we to go back to what you were saying about or actually it was about assumptions as
Uh-huh.
we were discussing as related to assumptions.
Uh-huh.
Um, we have to be very mindful. We have to be very, very mindful about never asking for clarity,
Mm-hmm.
right? Going through the process of assuming that we know truth
Right.
when we don't, and it's okay. It's
We
okay
don't
that
know. You're
yeah, it's
so right. We don't know.
we don't
None
know,
of us knows. And at
but
the end
it's
of the day, it's just an opinion.
yes,
He says
and
that.
yep, it is an opinion, and but the way that we get away from, all of the chaos and living in pure hell is by ensuring that we go through that process of asking for clarity, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's something that you don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and instead of making an assumption like Ma the other day, I was telling her that I sometimes I play with people at work because somebody made a comment that what did the comment was, and anyways it led me to say that oh yes, they need to tell you when they put an AI robot on what did I anyways I was just basically making a joke, and I was telling her what my number was, right? I was like, yes, because I'm model A2667543 and it's whatever. And she made this comment. She said, no, you're more like 666. And I looked at her and
Somebody said
Tiffany,
that to you.
mommy said that to me. Mommy said that to me. And you know what that helped me to understand? Remember, I was telling you, she acts
Why would
so.
mom say that to you?
Listen though, I said now I understand why you behave so bizarre. Because I was just joking. I was talking in jest with the kids. The kids don't know nothing about six. I mean, they do, but I didn't have them grow up in that environment where they are, they understand that whole concept of six. But when she said that, I was like, ah, the truth will always prevail. You know, it's not a matter of if, but when. And when it does prevail, you have this capability to understand the the reactions of people and the foundations that they lean on that help you to see their belief, their belief system.
So
And
can we go back real quick though?
with what?
Why did mommy say that to you?
Oh, I don't know. I don't
It
know.
just came out the blue.
Yeah, like we were sitting at the table and I was joking with the kids that at work I was pretending like I was a robot and I told them that, they have model A something 66789. I said something just throwing out numbers. And she was like more like 666. And I was like, I didn't know where it came from, but I was glad it came out because it helped me to understand sometimes about loyalty. Remember, I said, it's really interesting. I know you was an orphan growing up. I know you
Mm-hmm.
were an orphan, so you didn't have a strong unit. Everyone was treated you as an outsider.
Mm-hmm.
And so you don't understand the concept of loyalty. So I'm gonna give you grace around that. I
Mhm.
said, but I'm going to let you know that we are your tribe, right?
Right.
And so, when she said that, though, I thought to myself, and it brought me back to this whole idea of assumption and not asking for clarity, etc. If there is ever something that you don't understand about me, I am going to ask you, I implore you to call me, have a conversation with me directly. Don't go to nobody else,
Mhm.
and let's have a discussion around it. Because I think where we lose relationships, when
Mhm.
we have, wars that happen within families, etc., is because nobody is seeking for clarity. And it's so important that we get better at asking the question. If there is something about me that you believe
Mhm.
to the point where you have to now label me, then
Right.
let's have a conversation. I think I deserve at the least the ability to explain if you lack understanding,
Right.
right?
And
Because
and so Toya, I think that and I learned this actually in my PhD program from Brene Brown. It says oh my God, concise what does Brene Brown say about being concise and being clear? That's the reason why you ask questions.
mm-hmm.
The whole premise of nursing is not, and one of the principles I should say is you clarify doctor's orders. Like when you're a floor nurse,
Correct.
you have to
Correct.
clarify everything.
Of
Right. You
course.
have to
Right.
ask a question.
Correct.
Also have to be able to critically think to ask the question. But yeah.
To know
Um,
what question to ask and asking the right question. Absolutely. Absolutely.
clear, clear is kind, unclear is unkind. That's
Mm-hmm.
Brene Brown's concise and clear concept. But
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you about asking questions. So clear is kind, unclear is unkind. Most of us avoid clarity because we tell ourselves that we're being kind when what we're actually doing is being unkind and unfair.
Mm-hmm. Unfair.
Uh-huh.
That's
It's
the
in
key.
her book, Dare to Lead,
Mm-hmm.
emphasizes that true kindness requires having direct, honest, and often difficult conversations rather than avoiding clarity to spare someone's feelings in the short term,
Mm-hmm.
which is often just about making ourselves more. Because see, now we're back to ourselves again.
Selves. Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. At the end
Um,
of the day, it's always about self, ego. It
right.
really gets in the way of us truly,
Growth.
um,
It gets in the
yeah,
way of
growth.
growth.
I was just
Period.
about to say that. I was just about growth. So, period. You are absolutely right. But yeah, we do need to really just find the courage to ask the question and be able to ask it with clarity, know what question to ask, and ask the right one. And if you felt like you didn't get the answer, continue asking until you get the answer,
Hmm.
right? Communicate clearly to avoid any type of misunderstandings. And hopefully, by doing that, we have less drama within our lives. And then the fourth agreement fourth agreement, he talks about always doing your best. And we talked about that a little bit earlier about how your best, it does change on depending on your circumstances. But, always just making sure that no matter what our circumstance is, because even a drug addict going through, their recovery, sometimes they have relapses, right? But as long as they're doing their best, if they fail, but get back on track, they're doing their best to try and get out of that situation.
Hmm.
And you have to be there to support, not to enable the behavior, and that's in anything, right? That's in not to enable the behavior. And what I mean by that is constantly seeing them going back and forth, and not just with drug addicts, but with just anyone trying to overcome an addiction, overcome a habit that is not only detrimental to themselves, but also to others. You know, not enabling the behavior, but just having a sense of understanding, patience, and love as they're going through that process. But you always doing your best, you know, it will help you as an individual to keep on track of your process, whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish. Um, all right, so we finally got through that. That was, I was like, girl, it is noon.
Girl, and then
But
I'd be taking you all over the place. So I'll take you down the path.
boy, memory, I didn't went down memory lane, ease on down the lane, Wizard of Oz, Skid Row lane. I mean, you I was like, oh, this is gonna take me about 3 hours to edit, but that's okay.
Why is it still
I did.
taking you that long to edit? When I see content creators, they look like they'd be editing in 5 seconds.
And well, they ain't doing what you and I do. You know, you want to make sure you get the good content and you get rid of the stuff that probably need not have been said. So you gotta review it a couple times. Thank God for speed play. I listened to you sounding
I
like a
think you
mouse.
should, but you know what? I think you should do like this one content creator. When I see him again, obviously, he just puts sound bites and then he puts this music behind it. He goes, boom, when it says something powerful. It's this music behind. It's called Grits and Eggs, I think. Do you watch him?
He does it when they say something of importance that he wants you to focus on.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Okay. No, yeah, I'm not doing all that. Girl, ain't nobody got time. Sister girl, I barely be getting these done. I'm like, yeah. I hope I can get this out today. But yeah, I'm about to sit here, sip on some coffee and go through not coffee. Well, it is called
I'm about to give me another coffee. I need to finish these charts right quick.
Yeah, but so thank you. Yeah, so we finally, so that's the 4 agreements. And I hope you got all of them through all of that. And if not,
it's never good to have a podcast with someone with such a beautiful mind.
It's truly beautiful because we done went down 100 different lanes. All to come back to the end of I hope you got all of that. But
hope you were paying attention.
Yeah, right. Oh my gosh, that is going to be comical. Actually, I've been doing pretty good because I'm now with your tangential mind. I always have like note cards like here, and I'm like, what happened? Yeah, girl. Bring me back. But all right. All right, Tiff, did you have anything else you wanted to share?
No.
No? All right. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us here on Proactive is the Way. Take good care.
Kinky Knots Cafe.
Why you always want to put that? It's in the back.
Because Proactive is the Way and Kinky Knots Cafe rhyme. So I'm kind of like, my brain works like that. It's like try to make a song out of it.
Proactive is the way.
Join us on December 14th as we begin to wrap up season 3 of Proactive is the Way. Ascension, the glow up. Over the past 3 years, I have been on a journey exploring my inner being, the life in which I want to design, my principles, and the areas in which I want to focus to have the ultimate glow up. You see, I am a firm believer that to exude true beauty, the inner work must happen so that when one begins the external work, one will be most able to be vulnerable and allow oneself to fully embrace the experience, unashamed, with boldness and confidence. As I begin to live in my glow up era, I will be closing this season with taking an outside in approach to beauty. To guide me during this finale, I will explore Life Makeover, Embrace the Bold, Beautiful, and Blessed You by Dominic Saxa. We will learn about how making over our outward appearance will help lead us to a happier and healthier version of ourselves, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. In preparation for this series, please grab the book, Life Makeover, Embrace the Bold, Beautiful, and Blessed You. Details are in the description. For access to replays and to learn more about Kinky Knots Cafe's Proactive is the Way, please visit www.kinkyknotscafe.com. Stay proactive, my friends. Take good care.